Doesn't matter what you do. If you become the best, you will be phenomenally successful.
Daniel Dagger, Mr. Super Prime, with over 5 billion in sales and the founder of DDRE Global.
I didn't really think I could achieve anything.
You've literally mastered yourself everywhere.
What you put out over the internet, you'll see what you get back.
People have such a different perspective. They see one side, but they don't see the real side.
You are not safe if you're working for somebody. If they don't like you, you're not there tomorrow.
How was it selling the most expensive property in London?
This is probably not the answer you want to hear. It was probably one of the saddest days of my life.
Welcome back to Freedom Impact Trust. I'm very excited about this episode because we actually messaged each other on Instagram back in August of 2019. I mean, like, this is a longevity, Curtis. This podcast has been in the years of making. I don't even.
We'll blame
lockdown
that held it off them for a little bit.
Okay,
Fine.
We're in the right moment now. Everything's coming together. So
Great.
we have got Daniel Dagger, Mr. Super Prime, I think better known as, plus with over 5 billion in sales. When I
That's phenomenal.
When I visually see that number, I think
That's
Christ,
phenomenal.
That's a lot of zeros. And the founder of DDRE Global, which is pretty sick. It's pretty epic.
It is. Where did it all start? I want to jump in. Like, where did your love for property all start?
I didn't love property.
I just became very good at it.
No, I didn't love property. I was a kid who wasn't very good at school.
Yeah. Okay.
I enjoyed the social aspect of it, but I didn't learn that way. The way
Don't
school,
we all, though? The social aspect, the best part.
I mean, to a certain extent, it was an element of bullying and stuff. You know, this is when growing up, it taught me a few things, but I wasn't very good at school. So I was told that I'm not good enough to go to university because I didn't get the grades. I wasn't particularly, I didn't really succeed at anything. So whether it was talking to girls when I was younger or playing football, I was a good footballer. That's what I hung my hat on. And I got on with people. I just liked to have nice relationships. And so I didn't really think I could achieve anything. No one told me I could achieve anything.
I mean, you've proved all that wrong. I'll put it
Well,
like that.
yeah, I mean, maybe. I suppose so. But the way I looked at it was that I went to study surveying. I didn't enjoy it. I was fed up with the classroom, and I wanted to be independent and make my own money. I didn't want to rely on mum and dad. And so I did a work experience for 2 weeks, which was when I was studying business studies because I couldn't get into A-levels. And that company lost one of its staff members, and they reached out to me and said, look, would you be interested in having a permanent role here? So I had like a over the telephone interview when phones were attached to the thing.
To the cable.
Yeah, to the cable. And I said all the wrong things, but they still employed me. And I think my salary was about £7,500 a year.
Why do you think that, though? Do you think because you are a very talkable person,
No. I had good manners.
Yeah.
My mum taught me really well when it came to manners. Manners is really important. And I was keen to work.
Yes.
And I think playing football put me in a position where training every day enabled me to feel comfortable in the process.
Yeah.
So, and they saw that I licked loads of stamps and I sent information and put things through doors, and I wasn't someone who was difficult to I never pushed back on simple tasks.
Yeah.
It's so important you said that, because I feel like these days, like you as a business person, you ask someone to do something, and sometimes you even feel a bit like, oh my God, why am I asking them to do it? Because sometimes they can be so pushed back that, no, I don't want to go the extra mile. Whereas seeing people that come from a sports background, seeing you put the hard work in, you get the results out.
Discipline.
That applying into business seems to be something that the more and more people we talk to, it's been like, well, that's the secret to success. Consistency and willing to go that extra mile.
So what you've just said there, AJ, is put your kids into sport and they'll be successful.
100%.
I think they've got a better chance.
I agree.
I think they've got a better chance. And I think when we talk about consistency, it's consistency in failing. Mm-hmm. Because when you're young, you don't know.
Yeah.
Whatever anyone tells you, no matter how much you read or you look on YouTube, you don't know. There's very little that you know. You just know what you know. And if you're constantly failing as a 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19-year-old, what happens is it puts you in a place where you realize you have to fight through it.
Resilience, yeah.
Total resilience. And I didn't know I was going to be successful, so there was no dream goal. I had no idea about chauffeur-driven cars. I had no idea about watches and boats and planes. I had no idea. I grew up in local authority housing until I was 11.
Do you think in one way, actually, that was quite nice? You know, in the day and age that we have now, everybody sees all these nice things. So in some elements, yes, it makes people work a little bit harder. But in other elements, it actually distracts people from the hard work to then be able to achieve them things. So do you think it was nice actually not having them things in your head so you could focus just on you and doing you?
Yes. Although if I knew a little bit more, I might have made different moves that would have achieved levels of success faster. So I think there's an element of balance between knowing what you know and saying, okay, this is interesting. I think I can achieve this, but being very self-aware that you still have to drive through stuff.
Yes, yeah.
That's the tricky time that we're finding ourselves in now.
Do you remember when you kind of had that eye-opening moment of seeing like, oh, there is, not saying that it sounds awful, say a light at the end of the tunnel, but there's more opportunities, there's more out there. Kind of because like we're born in Stoke-on-Trent and then moved to Cheshire in a slightly nicer area, but our mum's values were like, well, we still go back to our granddad in Snee Green. Like, it's a very stark reality compared to this London life.
It's a very working area.
It's two very different worlds.
My parents did something that is the foundation of my success, which is that my dad didn't have much money, and life got a little bit more comfortable for us from the age of about 12, 13. But there was a school that was opening up, a private school that was opening up in Maida Vale, where I grew up. And I got given the opportunity to go to the private school, and I didn't have to pay anything because they needed students to come in, right, to populate the school. And at the same time, I was going to a local youth centre that was almost next door to the school.
Yeah.
It was one of the wisest decisions my parents ever made, because I was when I was going to the youth centre, I was one of the only kids with both parents. I was the only Jewish boy. Everyone else around me looked different, sounded different. I was different to everyone else. And that was really difficult, but it was an amazing experience because I got to learn different things. All of a sudden I had friends who were West Indian, Jamaican,
you understood
Georgian.
The culture,
I understood how to start speaking to different people, understanding different cultures and religions. I didn't have any boundaries or barriers. You know, it was just interesting, and I didn't realize that I was in a pool of so many different kinds of people, and I was learning the skill of communicating with them all. And then I went to the local, the school, the private school, and the kids were more affluent, and they had both their families, and I was the kid that didn't have very much in comparison. But when I went to the youth centre, I had everything. I had both my parents. It was two different worlds. And it taught me, and I didn't know this, my parents knew, but it taught me how to communicate with people, how to empathize with people, how to speak people's languages, how to deliver a message in a different way to a different human being and get a positive result from it. That is the foundation of my success. Not my education, but pounding the streets with the kids, skateboarding with all the rude boys, half of them have gone to prison, and understanding how to navigate that process as a kid, but also go to school and also study and then go into a working environment, whereas as a 17-year-old, you're told go and work.
So fundamentally, like you learnt life rules very quickly, and in the situation, like you said, some of your friends maybe didn't take the right kind of
You were never put in a
roads.
box.
Yeah, no, I think it's like you learn, like as children sometimes are like told, you go do this, you go do that. And I think what's really sad sometimes, they go to school and it's like, this is right, that's wrong. Well, actually, there's no really wrong way if you're really educating yourself and learning. Yes, sometimes 1 + 1, it is 2 at the end of the day. That's right or wrong. But the life skills on the bigger picture, you have to talk to people. That's what you're so good at, Curtis. You're so good at, you just talk.
From what you were saying, I've had friends with no money. I've had friends with loads of money. I've had both ends of the world. And like you said, you do talk. People act differently in different groups. It's the way things are. And you learn how to talk to people and how to mingle and mangle with everybody. And I feel like it does help in all situations, especially throughout my life.
You realise very early on what gratitude is.
Oh, 1,000%.
Right?
And what trust is.
And what trust is, but
think
you have to learn that.
of
You have to
life.
learn that element. But the value of the simple things, like my dad would take me to football on Sunday morning. He was the manager of the football team.
Yeah.
That was amazing looking back at it.
Yeah.
Most of the kids, or some of the kids, would turn up with boot bags, and in the boot bags at the age of 13, there was whiskey, condom, football boots, and shin pads. Like, I never knew what that was all about.
Yeah.
I had no idea. And there was problems, and you know, we had to pick the kids up from certain places. My dad's a loving guy, like a really loving, caring guy. And I learnt so much from that. So now in today's life, when I'm around phenomenally successful people, seeing, you know, the most expensive things you could ever see, and it's all around me, honestly, I'm not fussed by it.
Okay, this is a little jump, but jump into the Netflix show that'll be coming out later this year.
Yeah.
And Buying London. Like, do you feel like when people maybe will see you first time, they'll see this kind of quite confident, you see the little reel that's out there, and you're kind of like, yeah, I'm putting all my money on the line, I'm putting my like,
That's true though.
that part, yeah,
That is really
that's
true.
But that personality, but then they don't know who you are. Do you kind of a second guess yourself on that side? Obviously you're on social media and you've always kind of put yourself out there.
Yeah.
You're one of the first to do that, to be honest. But people have such a different perspective of, like, they see one side, but they don't see the real side.
They're going to see the
people
end
that
product
actually
of money. And
makes the deal happen. The people that actually holds on to them relationships, like even us messaging, like,
Yeah.
because you quite clearly are a very humble person.
People wouldn't say that about me growing up. You know, people are always going to have opinions about you. I'm definitely more polished than I was before, but my foundation remains the same. I think it's very easy to get carried away with my job and now people's perspective of me on Netflix. You know, we've got that show because we're talented, we're hardworking, we're determined, we've created this opportunity, and we have insane desire to do something really special with our lives, to tell a story. Not because I want to buy a boat tomorrow or a Lamborghini. That's not how I roll. I want to create more opportunity for people, and I love people, and that's the only way that I have been successful, is because I really love people.
so when's the documentary coming out?
So it's coming out in May.
Yes.
So click coming soon on Netflix, so you can watch it, and it'll give you some insights to what we do. Obviously not everything. It is an entertainment show at the end of the day, and it will show you a side.
Is that your first inciting into, I'm going to say, the TV world?
No,
it's not. I've done quite a bit of TV.
Yeah.
It's funny how people do put you in a box in our industry. Probably like every industry, like your industry.
100%,
Like you were dancing, and I was like, wow, this is amazing, because I learned how to tap. My mum put me through the ringer with stuff.
You can tap dance.
So my mum wanted to find a talent in me, right? She was desperate
wanted
to
to
find a
pull
talent in me,
something out.
right? I did everything. I mean,
So
I did
what number was selling property on that list?
So no, it was nowhere near. What are you talking about? My mum wanted me to be a doctor or a tennis player. You know, that's what it was.
Secure money, be a doctor.
Yeah, I played the violin, I tap dance, and in truth, I was pretty good at all this sort of stuff, and I love dancing.
So what episode's the talent show on the Netflix?
No. But I would watch Strictly Come Dancing, and I'd love it. In particularly the Argentine tango, I love that dance.
Very sexy dance.
It's very sexy dance, and I thought it was wicked that you were on this show, and I loved it, and I loved the fact that you were on social channels and doing your thing, and it was admirable. And I'm sure that people put you in a box when you start your career.
You know the irony,
in dance.
now you just said that, I've never ever said this on camera before, but on Strictly I was one of the first ones to be like, okay, I want to use YouTube, I want to show behind the scenes, I want to use Instagram,
I want to
use the opportunity to really increase my opportunity being voted for, because my first partner was not famous,
and help publicize the show even more.
And help publicize the show. I got so penalized for that behind the scenes. Every single year they reduced the amount of stuff I could put out. I was brought in for meetings. I was kind of, in a weird way, slapped on the wrist for doing it. Like, why would you do that? The irony of now, it's like we need to. We have a social manager. We have this. Like the times change so quick, and seeing your business doing it, like within property, you've seen that opportunity and flown with it.
Were you penalised by other people? Were you a
we
little
were
bit
talking
like...
about we were talking about being put in boxes.
Yeah.
In every industry, you're going to be put in boxes. Okay.
Yeah.
And we were talking about why I'm doing TV shows
Yes.
and stuff like that. It was really simple to me. A successful real estate agent is somebody who walks down the high street of the neighborhood that they work in, or the city they work in, and everyone knows who that person is.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone goes, oh yeah, speak to Peter Pan or Sally Simpson.
Yeah.
They're really good. They know everything. They know the head school teacher. They know just everybody. You know, your best chiropractor, your doctor. That guy is the cheat code, or that lady is the cheat code to that village, that city, whatever it may be. And I realized that I'm in a business where people buy my service. The more people who know who I am, the more chance I've got to be successful. Super simple. But everyone put me in a box. Everybody put me in a box. No, you need to be here, and you need to only work in this neighborhood, and you shouldn't create any content, and it's dangerous for privacy reasons. And I'm like, it's not dangerous for privacy reasons. I'm not going to do anything that's going to cause any concern, right? Not only that, but if my clients are openly marketing property and I can get thousands and thousands of people to see it, then I'm enhancing their opportunity to sell their property whilst making everyone aware of my talent, or my determination, or my skill, or my hard work, whatever it may be.
Well, that sounds like a win-win.
That sounds like a win-win for everybody. So we build an incubator here for personal brands to go out and deliver a real estate service. That's what DDRE is. But everyone has to understand that you will be put in a box. Even though in today's world, you have the opportunity to do this and speak to thousands and thousands and hundreds of thousands and millions of people whilst creating opportunity for yourself and adding value to anyone who's listening to you. This is an amazing opportunity not to be in a box.
Yeah. I completely agree with that.
And leaning into your talent, whatever it may be, whether it's dancing or amazing communicative skills or whatever painting, go and create content. Go and do your thing. Don't worry about the naysayers. They're always going to be there.
AJ, let's take a moment to thank our sponsor, Fint.
Yes, the financial investment app that makes investing easy from as little as £50 a month, Curtis.
Oh, I love that.
It's very good, I know.
It is. But let's get back to the pod.
Yeah.
So what I've been listening to you is resilience from a young age. You've been taught. You've been taught good family skills. You've been taught good communication skills.
Yeah.
And these have all been the things. And never be put in a box either. You've been taught all of these, and it's sort of, it has brought you to your success of where you are today.
Yeah.
And do you think that's what made you stand out in all of the places you worked in from the age of 17 years old?
Yeah.
Knight Frank, all these places, you climbed up, you became the best. Is this your remedy for it?
I know that working hard, putting additional effort in, truly caring about your client and your customer, and going above and beyond makes a big difference.
Yeah.
And people notice it.
Yeah.
I love people, and I am a people pleaser.
Yeah.
And everyone says, you don't be a people pleaser. You'll never get anywhere in this world. No, you have to set boundaries. Of course you do. But for, I reckon, 2 decades, I've put people first.
Yeah.
I've put people first. I mean, I didn't earn a great living for 15 years. A great living in comparison to what I was doing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I didn't. I was prepared to invest my time and effort to learn my skill and be at service for people. This is one thing that I'm really passionate about, is champion true service.
Yeah.
In whatever you do. If you become the best at it, you'll be phenomenally successful, because the world will know about it now, because we can do this sort of stuff. So I had an interesting moment when I was about 21. I've been working for 3.5, 4 years. I was probably taking home 15 to 20,000 pounds a year at the time. This is 2000, 2001.
And then 3 years, your week, what would it look like?
Oh, I was just picking up. I mean, we didn't have a computer. I mean,
Yep.
it sounds like I'm 400 years old.
I was
But
going to say,
we-
that people listening to this
So,
are like,
so
what?
this is what it looked like. There was a desk.
Yep.
There was a telephone. There was a card box. Okay, so I had a box and I had
know
a
it.
card.
Your
It was
Rolodex
A B
sort
C
of
D. It
thing.
wasn't a Rolodex. My colleague had a Rolodex. I didn't qualify for that. So in the card box there was A B C D E F G. You know,
Yep.
and it will be people's boxes, people's cards, and on those cards will be their name, their telephone number. No mobiles. After a little while, there was mobiles in there, and then there was fax number.
Oh, wow. Yes, yeah.
And then on the other side would be their requirements, what they're looking for. Okay. And I would sit there all day, and when a new property came in, I'd go through my box, and I would go and I would
Ticks
call
that
that
box,
person, and then I would go and look at properties. And I would value them at the age of 23. You're having heart palpitations. You're getting nervous about this because you're asking someone in their 30s to trust a 21-year-old.
Yeah.
Did you feel, I don't want to say
I was
small, but
petrified.
yeah.
I was petrified. I remember the first time I valued a property. I'll come to the story about being 21.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I remember the first time I valued a property was in Sutherland Avenue in Maida Vale. And I remember sat outside in my Vauxhall Corsa, which was 900 and something cc.
We love a course.
Great car.
Yeah,
Our
the
first
same
car.
cars, right? And I remember sat there and perspiring in the car about I'm about to go and tell somebody how much their property's worth. At the time, no one had this metric of pound per square foot when you're valuing properties.
Understood, yeah.
So you'd walk in and you would go, it feels like, right?
Which way's the wind blowing today?
Yeah. And what else is sold? You use comparables, but it's in your head. There was no metrics, and I won it. And I won a lot. And we were working as small independent against bigger firms. And I thought to myself, yeah. And gradually you grow with confidence.
Yeah.
Everything's about failure, succeeding. You succeed a bit more till you hit failure. Then you learn. Then you succeed a bit more. And that moment was a really pinnacle moment.
Yeah.
So throwing yourself in at the deep end is super duper important. But the story I wanted to tell you was when I was 21, I was earning 15, 16,000 pounds a year, whatever it was. And I was still living at home. And some friends were leaving university, and I didn't qualify to go to uni. So friends were leaving university, and they were getting golden handshakes to go to insurance companies, investment banks, and they were put on £21,000 or £30,000 a year. And I remember being at home, and I was good at playing football, but I was an estate agent, and I was just an estate agent.
Yeah.
There was no pride in it. We're trying to bring pride into the industry. And I remember saying to myself, sorry, my phone's going off. I remember saying to myself, Daniel, just be great. Just be great. It doesn't matter what you do. And I had this vision, and I can see it now. And the vision was of a man carving, I don't know why, carving a chair.
Okay.
And I said to myself,
Am I losing the plot?
even if you're a carpenter and you're creating chairs, if you become the best out of creating something, the world will know and you will be phenomenally successful. In other words, it doesn't matter what you do.
No.
If you become the best, you will be phenomenally successful. Be patient. Work hard. I had no idea about what was on the other side of being successful. I had no idea about private cars and chauffeurs and champagne and parties and jimmies in the south of France and boats. I never came from that.
Yeah.
So there was nothing that was pulling me towards it. What was driving me was my own ambition to just be very good at delivering a service.
To keep improving and keep that quality
Right?
of
The
what
problem
you do.
now is that people have this thing in front of them and it's pulling them and coercing them to speed up and find the quick win. And there is sometimes a quick win. There is sometimes a quick way. It is like snakes and ladders.
But it's a rarity normally.
But it's a rarity.
Yeah.
So do you want to rely on the ladder you may find really just out of fluke? Yeah, take that ladder. 100% take that ladder. But remember that every ladder you find, there will be a snake.
Yeah.
And you'll come down. And if you want to live that life, that's no problem. Go for it. But I want to be so good, and this is where delivering a service is important. I want to be so good at whatever I do. If I'm going to put my mind to it, it's my mum really drove it into me, right? My mum used to clean the house. Let me tell you something, you could eat off the floor. My mum has pride through the roof.
If you do a job, do it properly.
Do it unbelievably well.
Yeah.
and that is exactly what I do, or
100
try to.
The value side, like we've always said, if we say yes to a job, if it's a paid job, if it's a charity job, if whatever it is, as soon as we've said yes, it doesn't matter what it is, we give it everything. It's the one thing that our parents have always been like, if you say yes, you do it as though it is the best thing in the world, because that's the only way that people are going to remember you and value you. Plus, at the end of the day, for us personally, it would be the worst feeling ever. It's coming back from the job that you haven't prepared for, or you've turned up late, or you dance competition, you've lost because you weren't the fittest person in the room. Like, they are the worst losses because you
was in your control.
Prepared to lose.
Yeah.
If somebody beats you because they're better than you, great.
C'est la vie.
You can learn from it, you can improve. But when it's self-inflicted, like it's how do you live with yourself?
Yeah.
And that's a really kind of sad thing. Sometimes we see people like they're failing because they prepared to fail. They haven't prepared to win, and that's very sad.
Did you feel like working for other people then when you were at like Knight Frank and all these other places that actually it was hindering you slightly? Do you feel like you almost couldn't have the freedom of what you wanted to do, and then obviously you left and created DDRE?
Because you have a
Okay,
clear
so-
goal.
so
You can
you-
see
yeah,
when
I've
you
got a
talk
clear goal.
about
I've
it.
got a
You
clear
know
goal.
what you want.
I'm pretty confident. Okay, but I'm confident of doing stuff.
Yeah.
And realize that I'm good at it. And people will say that I'm a very confident guy, but if you ask me about stuff that I don't know about, or ask me if I'm any good at darts, I'm going to say no.
Yeah.
But what I do is I focus on stuff that I know I'm good at. Okay, because I see just more value in it. During my working life, I focused on my work, and I've always been prepared to truly understand what makes other people successful, so I can try and bring it into my sphere.
Yeah.
Right? Working in organizations, being an independent or a big corporate, teaches you many things. I am 100% more professional than I ever was before I went into corporate. Okay? But my natural, innate ability to be an entrepreneur has always remained there. It's always been present. It's probably given me a bit of an inch or an angle where I've seen opportunity faster in a corporate environment and went for it. That is, I've seen benefits from everything. Do you feel stifled? Yes. In life, you will feel stifled. And often when things happen in your life, it's not because of everybody else. It's something that I've had to learn. It's not everyone else's issue. It's also your own. So I know that when I've been in environments that have been uncomfortable, it's very easy for me to say, well, they're wrong. Or they're not doing something that they should be doing because this is a clear and present opportunity. But now with a bit of age and wisdom and reflection, I know that I've also created those times where I've been difficult. Whilst I see an opportunity, I've been difficult. It may not have suited other people. It may have caused elements of friction. That's not just their problem.
Yeah.
It's mine too. And I can see it now in conversations with people that I speak to, that is very present everywhere we go.
Yeah, I feel like in business sometimes, like I love doing business with people that are yes people. Let's find a way. Let's talk about this. Why are we putting up barriers? Why are we making it harder than let's put it on the list? Well, no, let's do it now today. The best way to get jobs done is not to do like, by Friday I'm getting it done. Well, no, what can I do today? How many hours have I got in the day? If it's on that list, prioritize it. Most important, just start taking the list off, because before you know where you are, that's how you get an obscene amount of jobs done, because you just do them.
Do. But I think that happens from a young age.
Yeah.
I'm not certain you can teach it. There are some people that work like this. And there are some people that work like this. And they work with tempo. Tempo in work is vital. It's like your heartbeat. I work 1,000 miles an hour. It's insane. I didn't know this. I thought everyone worked this way.
Yeah.
Kurt said to
really
me,
not.
Kurt was like, you do realize people don't always work like you. Like, people have their own, like you said, their own temper, their own thing.
Everybody's different.
Everybody's different.
Everyone's
100%.
work
Finding
time
the
is
value
different.
out of people and what they do, great. But it brings me on to, there's two questions that I really have for you that are really eating away at me.
Go on.
You're very open within your social media. You talk about your experience, you travel, you put yourself out there.
Yeah.
But you put something on your story, I think it was last night. You spoke about how you've had to slightly change, I can't remember off the top of my head, your psychology to become a CEO because of what you have to do, not just for yourself, but increasing, I would presume this was to do with increasing the size of your team, like how you actually mentor them.
Yeah.
And in the same sort of question, you talk about value, you talk about working so hard. How do you hire people? Because on one side,
Oh,
what
I
you've
like
built
this,
is
AJ.
you've got a lot of people, but you've got a very close-knit people. Like I've spoke to some of your team here. Like, how do you
Great
find the
Thank you.
right
Great
team? Because finding the right people,
It's
it's a skill in
enthusiastic,
itself.
So
young, hardworking.
okay, so this is
Sorry, it's very open-ended.
no,
but
so I don't mind it. It's fine. I love psychology. I love reasons why people do stuff. When you're building a business that is very different to everyone else, you can't just go out and hire people.
Yeah.
To deliver a service. They have to believe in it. I can't force someone to believe in it. So the only way I know whether or not they believe in it is if they approach us. If they approach us and they see what we're doing, because this is the wonderful thing about this world, is that what you put out over the internet and in person when you meet people, so physically and digitally, you'll see what you get back. Almost everybody in this business has approached us to be in it. And I'm unbelievably proud because everyone that you meet, the base camp guys and girls, are here till 8 p.m. Not because I asked them to be here. I want them going home at 6 o'clock. Yeah, I want them home. Go out and enjoy yourselves.
Yeah.
They choose to work here because they're empowered. They know that it's more meaningful. It's not just a job. They are evolutionizing an industry. I've got Claudia, who's 23 or 24. She's number 6 in the business. She'll be able to tell everybody about her story working here, evolutionizing what is one of the oldest industries on the planet, the most established industry on the planet, probably here in London. And Claude's is making that happen. That's what's great about this business.
That's so cool. The fact that you've actually been able to create that, to be allowed to do that, because any other estate agent or any other firm or anything, they haven't put themselves out there. So they haven't given people the actual visual to be able to see them, to actually know them that much. So that means people won't always approach them. You've literally plastered yourself everywhere in the best way possible, in such a professional manner and clever way.
Shown that it's possible.
Now people will come to you. They will actually
Well, we
find
hope
you.
so, right?
Yeah.
We hope so. The thing about it is when I started to produce content, a bit like your problem, everyone thought you were a maniac
Yeah.
and an egotistical warrior.
Yeah.
I haven't changed, and everyone now thinks I'm a
Still am
genius.
both of them.
and everyone thinks I'm a genius. So it's not me that's changed.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
perception
yeah.
over the reality that's changed. When hiring advisors, this is a great way. If you're in a sales business, is a nice tip for anybody that's interviewing people. I would ask you to tell me, you can't reference any of your friends or family, so don't think about any of those people, but I would ask you to tell me a fictional story. Go. Tell me a fictional story.
About selling a property.
No, just in general. Once upon a time,
There was a little boy. He was dyslexic. I've already told my own story. I can't do it. I'm out.
right,
I'm in a different story.
I'll tell you why I do this. In sales, it's really tricky. It's really tricky to do this. But in sales and marketing, you often have to tell somebody something whilst thinking about what you're going to say next.
Yep.
So your brain has to work in two motions. And you have to be able to read somebody as you're telling them something, but continue to recognize that you need to go to another destination and how you're going to get there. Asking someone to tell you a fictional story gets me the opportunity to see how creative someone can be.
Yep.
Okay, with their thinking. It's difficult now on the podcast, super difficult.
I was about to tell a story about a cow, to be fair. I wasn't even joking. I'd created a whole story in my head.
Yeah, you had steak last night, didn't you? You had steak last night.
Curtis would be on a monologue.
I genuinely had thought of some like Hansel and Gretel style cow story.
And then he sold sand to the Arabs. That's Curtis for you.
I love that. So this is one of the ways that I will truly understand if someone is good in sales and marketing. Otherwise, there are other ways of doing it, and I really want to get to know people, their drivers. We've all got drivers. We've all got reasons why we're doing things, and understanding what those core reasons are will give you a good impression as to whether or not that person is going to be successful. It may be perceived as arrogant, but I can sit in front of somebody and I can tell whether or not that person is going to be successful.
So, what do you think of us two?
You're already successful, guys.
Thank you. I'll take that.
Okay, I want to talk about some things. Like, a house is usually the largest, well, for most people, the biggest asset they'll ever hold. They'll
100%.
ever. It's a life choice, and sometimes people don't even get the opportunity to even get in that position.
Yeah.
How do you think, talking more so about London, maybe rather than the wider picture in the UK, like as an investment, London itself, most of people come into London these days, seeing these flats. It's an obscene amount of money for the standard living wage at the minute. What do you think London is in the next 10, 20 years as an investment, seeing the way it's moving forward? It's got such a long history, but everything moves so quickly these days.
Okay, it's a difficult question to answer. Okay, I would say that London is a safe investment. Yeah, but it depends on what your life is going to look like and what you want from your life. We've been born and raised in the UK, and the thing about being born and raised in the UK is you've got to get on the property ladder.
Yeah.
If you're born and raised in Germany, 60 or 70% of the people there rent.
Yeah.
So we have this sort of
Denmark is even, I think it's even higher, isn't
right.
it? It's crazy.
So we have this thing that is sort of inbred, where we have to buy real estate.
Yeah. Own land.
That's so true, actually.
Right? We have to buy real estate. Now, it may not be the best time to buy real estate. It may not be the best time in the market. It may not be the best time with your financial exposure, whether or not you're going to get a job or not going to get a job, or safe in the job, or independent, and your income's, improving or not improving. You have to think about this as a sort of.
It's a lifestyle choice one way.
It's an everything choice. You really have to be very sensible at whether or not you're making that commitment, because when you buy a property, you make a commitment to living in it. And if not, you're not going to live in it. You're going to rent it out. Well, what form of financing are you going to get? And is the cost of financing going to go up? And what sort of yield will you get by your rental income? And what's the cost of maintenance? And will you be able to service it? Is bank and mum and dad helping you? All these things. Is your job legit? Are you going to be in that job? People think that but working in a company, they have independence.
Yeah.
Like they're safe. You are not safe if you're working for somebody. It's very simple. If their business doesn't do particularly well, or if they don't like you, you're not there tomorrow.
And that's the one thing from COVID. Like, that's the one takeaway from that is, like, nothing's guaranteed, nothing's safe.
Correct. So what I say to people here is, I want you to be phenomenally independent. And the way you do that is by being an expert in your field and being financially wise. One of the guys that works with me when we first met, he had big debt. And I said to him, if you're working with me, you're selling all the stuff you don't need. Your Louis Vuitton bag, your watch, all this stuff that you don't need, you wipe out your credit card debt. Otherwise, you're not working with me.
Yeah.
And that's what he did. And then he built his career.
But I do always find if you can get on top of your finances, if, for example, if you're not already, try writing down just what you spend each day just so you're aware of it. It will change the way you live your life. It will make you more aware of everything you can and can't do in life.
Value
and it makes you,
things.
And it makes you understand then what you can do as a person at this point in your life.
And so when you're doing that, you have to be financially aware of the commitment you're making when you're buying real estate.
Yeah.
Is real estate a good is it a good asset to own? Yes. Is it a safe asset to own? Yes. If you look at other things you can own that can fluctuate in value.
Yeah.
real estate in London doesn't fluctuate that much
Crypto.
in comparison. Yeah, crypto. 1 minute you're a legend, the next minute you're a fool. So it's really tricky. What I would say to you is that the idea of buying real estate is one that we should all have. Okay, owning an asset is something we should all have because we can then leverage against it and create more opportunities. But it depends on your personal circumstances. Okay?
Yeah.
And that is where people have to be very self-aware about their personality, their drivers, where they're going to be in their lives. Are they going to continuously make the money that they're making now? Are they self-aware enough to know this? And are they making their own money? Are they in charge?
Yeah.
Then you choose whether or not you should buy real estate, and you choose where to buy real estate, and you take advice, and then hopefully you're successful.
But out of everywhere in England, you would say London is possibly one of the safer bets if you can afford to get a place.
Yeah, London is a safe bet because it's supply and demand.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we have a lack of supply in London, and we have high demand. I can't see that changing drastically. Okay.
Yeah.
A lot of people during COVID moved out and they bought places in the country.
In the country.
And that was wise at the time because people really wanted to have outside space and enjoy themselves, and there was an element of romance around it. But what happens is when that demand starts to slow, then you start looking at values there. Can people still achieve the pricing? Everything is about supply and demand and what the waves and which way the waves are going. But one thing you do know is that London is a financial hub. There's lots of opportunity, lots of talent, lots of entertainment, and so people are always going to want to be here.
So talking about kind of information and that education, where do you find your education from on a wider picture? Because the world has become so small in one aspect now that especially your clientele within that 0.001%, it's not just like I have a hub here. I have multiple hubs in all of the destinations for the traveling circus, as I like to say. They go to the arts fair in Miami.
You talk about the ultra high net worth.
The ultra high
yes,
net
their
worth
social calendar
is it's very different.
Where's
to
the
normal
F1?
people.
Where's the fashion show?
Literally.
Yeah.
Where do you get that information from? Do you get that from other people like yourselves within them markets that live there? Or do you yourself travel, go out there, see it for yourself?
Okay. It's a great question because I'm like most people. I wasn't born into it.
Yeah.
So I've had to learn it. How do you learn anything? You expose yourself to it.
Yeah.
But I was the guy who stood on the side of the people who knew what they were doing, and I didn't say anything. So I would turn up, make sure I dressed well, and I looked the part, and I listened. And that's all I did, is I listened for probably a decade and a half. I went to the boat show.
You were a fly on the wall.
Yeah. I went to the art exhibitions, and I went with people that had the knowledge.
Yeah.
And I learned from them. And all you need to do is learn this much of multiple subjects. And then you have an anchor conversation. And then you start bleeding your way into that process and understanding things a bit more and recognizing that you can learn something from everybody.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the ultra high net worth community and where they're going, you go and commit. I wasn't earning a huge sum of money. I mean, it was a lot of money in comparison to everybody else, but for what I did, I wasn't earning a huge sum of money. And what I did is, instead of buying a super nice car, I drove the corporate smart car. Yeah, I drove the corporate smart car for a year and a half, and I saved my money, and I spent that money on traveling.
Kurt's laughing because the other day I said, I can't be bothered to get a big new car. I think I'm just going to buy a little Vespa and just be much easier. I get around London quicker.
Yeah.
I don't have to worry about parking. Mm-hmm. It's easy.
I thought of a great little YouTube video we could get two little bikes, say we get them sent over to us. AJ,
Why not?
got a CBT, it'd be a great.
Why not?
Yeah.
I had there was a young woman that I worked with called Jade in my previous business, and I was about 32 at the time, and I was doing well. I was doing really well. And we were working in the same department. She was there to sort of run beside me. And we had a bit of a Barney in the office. And she said, "What the do you know? You haven't been anywhere." And bearing in mind that up until the age of 18, I'd been to Paris once.
Yeah.
And our family home in the Middle East. That was it. I hadn't been anywhere.
Yeah.
I hadn't been anywhere. I've been to Cornwall and Bath.
Cornwall's
And there's
lovely.
nothing wrong with Cornwall and Bath, by the way.
yeah.
Cornwall's got
Okay.
some expensive properties now, that's for
Yeah, it
sure.
has, yeah. But I hadn't been anywhere.
Yeah.
And she was right.
Yeah.
So what I did is I said, I'm going to drive this smart car for a couple of years. I'm going to save my money. And now I'm going to travel. And I put my hand up for a role in my previous business as the US ambassador. And I got that role. I mean, I was the perfect fit for it because I've got quite a US attitude to business.
Yeah, yeah.
And I traveled the world. I went to Baku in Azerbaijan. I went to Moscow. I went to Kiev. I went to Sydney. I went to, all on business. I went to the south of France. I went to Italy. I went to the US, New York, LA, Miami. And I learned.
This is basically doing what you did as a kid, private school to the other end.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm doing all of
Putting
that.
it all around.
And I'm sacrificing. I put on loads of weight. I was all over the place whilst trying to continue my business in the UK. But I learned. And now I can speak about multiple things. And when I'm at the dinner table with lots of other people and they start talking about where have they been, what's exotic, so on and so on. And I say, well, I've been to Baku. I went there 15 years ago or 10 years ago. And they're all like, what was that like? And I was like, well, I was picked up by a chauffeur and I could smell a funny smell. Didn't know what it was. And I asked the driver and he said, wind down the windows. And you wind down the windows. And on the route from the airport, which at the time was a bit ramshackle, to the city, which was lit up like a Christmas tree, on the route down, I wound the window down and you could see the oil fields. And I could smell oil. That's what I could smell. Now, very few people have that experience. You can read it and you can watch it on YouTube, but having the experience is totally different.
You don't know,
So I was prepared to sacrifice the image of I'm successful to go out and learn. And then obviously at 17, 18, I was traveling a bit more with the boys. You know, we went to Amsterdam and then there was the stags. And so I've been to every Eastern European country on the planet kind of thing. And you learn a little bit more about the world. That experience has educated me more than a nice car will.
Yeah. So you just said, actually, I'm jumping a bit here, but you were like, you struggled then with a little bit with your weight, your actual health and stuff because you were going around so much. How do you actually manage that now as a CEO, very successful, doing loads of work constantly? You're in a blooming business call right before us here. Yeah. Like you are non-stop. How do you manage all of that
dinners,
now?
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and a lot of work dinners.
So
there's a lot of alcohol.
Actually, believe it or not, I don't really do client entertainment. I've never done client entertainment.
Fair enough.
Like other people do.
Yeah,
Some people have got that job to do client entertainment. What I wanted to do, and you might say it's a little bit egotistical, but I wanted to be so good that people came to me.
No, I think that makes sense completely.
Okay. And then when you get into the sphere of influence that I sit in now, what happens is the best people in the world refer business to one another. Yeah. Not because I've taken them out for dinner, but because they know their clients are going to get looked after by someone who's done the job. And that's what happens at the top. And yes, people go out and they're entertained and they're doing this and they're doing that and they're going to the luxury boat show and all that sort of stuff. That's absolutely fine. But now you can do it digitally.
That's my biggest fear. If I recommend somebody, or
of course
we got a very good friend wanted a magician for a birthday. 6 of them sat down private late at night. And I was so stressed.
Did that all go to plan? Who I sorted it out?
Went beyond, and the magician was very happy with the tip as well. But I was so stressed. And because when you recommend something that's it's like your name 100%. Being added to that. And it's a really scary, weird, surreal moment, because at least if I know I'm turning up to do a job, I know I'm going to do it perfect. But when it's somebody else, you're like, okay,
I believe he's a good magician that I did get. I found someone very good.
He was very good. I'll give it to him. Yeah, he's got a good show as well.
So I coined a term, right, which is trust equity.
I've wrote that's in my notes.
It actually
it is. I was going to bring it up.
Okay. Trust equity, I think, is a good time to talk about it. Trust equity is when you refer somebody to me. You've created trust with that person, and that person's asked you for some advice. You're now, with that trust that you've created, you're now passing that trust on to me when you refer them to me. If I do something bad or wrong, or I misrepresent you and the client, it's going to impact the trust that you have with the client.
Yeah.
This is how life works. Just no one coined it that way. No one told me as a kid, this
Yeah.
is how it works. All I knew as a kid was just do the best you possibly can. I didn't realize that if you do the best you possibly can, other people will tell people to do business with you because they trust you, like you, and respect you. They're the 3 words that I use in our business. This is how the world works, everybody. Everything is about trust equity. When I refer somebody to somebody, I am passing the trust that I have earned with that client or that customer or that friend to you. You need to look after them.
Yeah.
Right? And you will do everything you possibly can to do that, because the relationship that we have is extremely valuable, because I know multiple people that you would like to be put in front of. That's what it's all about. It's all about trust, like, and respect, and the trust equity that you create with the people around you.
That sounds very simple. That's very clean how you've just put that. I love that.
I wish more people valued that one sentence, because I feel like people, the trust side, they ask it. There's a time and a place for a lot of things, but sometimes people just kind of feel like they take and take and take, and rather than ever giving back. And I think that's something really hard. Like both, I feel like Curtis and Dan, you both like to say make everybody happy, but you learn them boundaries and barriers before you can actually say, like, actually, no, that's not the right moment now, or that's not the this is not the appropriate time.
Yeah, you sometimes definitely get used every now and again, and then you realise, oh, actually, no, I need to
Well, if that
change the
person
way
does
I
it
do
multiple times, you now know where you stand with that person, and you can create your boundaries, and you know where you sit. The trickiest thing for young people is, how do I create trust amongst people around me? And they think it's by doing massive things, you know, like rescuing a woman who's getting mugged on the street kind of thing. Now that person trusts me.
Be truthful in what you're doing.
Yeah, be truthful, 100%. Always be truthful. But consistency creates trust. Okay? Creating content on social media channels. Consistency creates trust. The smallest thing creates trust, not the biggest thing. If you call me or you send me a message saying, I need your help, me coming back to you very quickly is creating a lot of trust equity, because you know that I am there for you.
Yeah.
All these little things make a difference when people make decisions about acquiring a property, which is the biggest investment they'll probably ever make in their lives. If people focused on creating trust and respect and likability, they will be phenomenally successful whatever they do. It's just learning how to do that.
I suppose you've got any great books to read that regarding psychology and things like that?
No,
just from listening?
I haven't. Everything I've done has been out of experience.
Yeah.
I struggle to read.
Yeah. Same.
I'm self-diagnosed dyslexic. I used to read backwards.
Oh, we're a bunch of dyslexics then.
Yeah.
It's a superpower. I love it. I see things that other people don't see.
We see things in a different light, a different manner, and really approaching the things that, as you said, that trust equity, things that we would value much higher than other people, I feel like, is because that some of the things that we'd find harder is kind of like, well, we don't do that so well, so we know what we do good, and we really hone in on the good things.
You focus on it. I created a course for people who want to become real estate advisors.
Yep.
Okay.
Is this course available now?
Yeah, it's available online. Yeah. We've just hyped it up. I've brought in the King's lawyers onto the training program, and a couple of other people that I'm fortunate enough to work with. Yeah. That people of any background can now tap into. Yeah. And understand how it works more, because I think access is the tricky part. I want to give access where I can. Is this sort of
a legacy feeling for you, being able to offer?
Everything's about legacy.
Everything, yeah.
Everything is about legacy. Everything that I do is about legacy. I'm a super simple man. I just want to create more opportunity for more people and do it by being
delivering value.
Yeah, and open up as much as we possibly can, but keep things private that need to be kept private. Yeah, because that's my role. Access to information. For instance, I've been an agent for 25 years. Do you know how many people taught me how to show property?
Probably not very many properly, I'd say.
No one.
Yeah.
No one has actually taught me how to show property. Not one person.
Quite a big flaw in the whole industry there.
How many people have taught me or trained me to be an agent here in the UK? Actually trained me. How many hours of training?
Your own mistakes would be your own training, like on the go, I would presume.
In my working life, I think I've probably had 12 hours worth of training.
Yeah.
All the lessons that I've learned. So, for instance, I remember when I was
Your mum's literally the training,
Well,
the
yeah,
emphasis of.
I can't rely on my mum to teach me how to sell real estate and
the
show real
value
estate.
of how you
Correct.
approach.
And how to think outside the box and all
Yeah,
of
think
these
outside the
things.
box, but it's also like the basics. For instance, I remember when I was 19 and I had to introduce myself to a woman in a burqa.
Yeah.
I had no idea. I knew that I couldn't shake her hand, but how am I going to make her feel comfortable?
Yeah.
All these little things. How do you show a property? You go abroad, the agents are taught. You need a license. They're taught hours. There's 100 hours worth of teachings. There's nothing here. There's very, very little.
I know we spoke before on camera, like for us with financial education app, well, we're launching, like education is the underlying thing, creating trust. The irony of freedom, impact, trust, the podcast, the name of this is actually the 3 pillars that we really stand upon for that app, because we feel like it's sad if somebody makes a mistake, but they're never, it's not their fault if they're making a mistake because they've never been taught it. So,
Yeah.
but why they're not taught it? Because yourself, someone like you, has had to take the step to do it. Or someone like us is like, okay, we want to create an educational course. We'll give it to the schools for free. We don't care. We feel like people deserve to have that.
It's generational. It's generational. I find myself in a very unique moment in my life where I've seen the older generation do their thing, and now I see the younger generation coming in. And I sort of straddle the two.
Yeah.
I have very interesting conversation with people that I would never share publicly, where I get good insight. Most people who are older that were successful were thinking about how to be more successful.
Yeah.
Young people want to be successful out of helping other people. It was never that was never the business model didn't work that way. We've got a nice thing that we do here about how we explain our business model in comparison to everyone else. I'm in a place in my life where I'm going to be successful. I'm going to do everything I possibly can to be successful in the right way. But I also feel that there's plenty of opportunity for me. I never feel that anyone's taking anything away from me.
Yeah.
And so I feel comfortable to give everybody else the lessons that I've learned and the tips and tricks and whatever it may be to support the next generation to be successful in themselves, because that's what I want. You guys in the next generation, you're doing it at a younger age. You'll have a different perspective over doing the same thing but in your own way. And that's great. As long as you're having a positive impact on the world, that is great.
I always find teaching somebody something always has a positive impact on yourself, though.
You feel so great.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
there's an element of being selfish about it,
Oh,
right?
100%.
Because like, I'm helping you, but I love it.
I do
listening-
nice things for other people because it makes me feel good.
Yeah.
I'm
Listen to what
selfish
you,
about
you
it.
spoke about with what was I can't remember the word that you used. The value of giving back from your culture
Service.
was just so much more than you can't expect anything back from it. But that's not the point of it. It makes you feel good to give back, whether it be to charities and most people we always do stuff. We love working with charities. We're always working with charities. Like we don't ever ask for anything back. It's not about that. It's just about giving our time. Like at the minute we can't give money, but we can give our time. We can give our value, because that's the best thing and most rewarding thing. It's an exhausting day usually, but it's the best form of exhaustion.
No, we do
you could
loads of
ever have.
charities. To be fair. I love it. I love doing things
That's
like that.
great.
Actually, yeah.
It's it's like soulful.
Oh yeah.
You feel
yeah.
great about
Yeah.
it.
And it makes you realize actually how lucky you are sometimes. You know, it
Yes.
actually puts
Yeah.
things in perspective.
Perspective.
It really, really
Sometimes you need that.
does. Oh yeah.
100%.
Sometimes you need that. You get so carried away with what you're trying to achieve that you forget about other stuff.
Yeah.
It is.
It's like it's a, I was gonna say it's like a palate cleanser. It's a clarity.
Yeah.
It really puts life back into perspective.
All right, I want to jump back to property quickly, just briefly.
I've got
Oh wait, well, no, what you can?
no property as well. I want you talk
How-
about privacy. Privacy is the number one thing. Your black book must be like the value of it must be eye-watering, obscene. But when you talk about kind of these sorts of people that travel the world or are expecting a certain amount of clientele, what's the difference on one thing? What's on market and off market?
Okay.
I want to talk about it a little bit, but also the collaboration between lots of these properties within the UK now are like Whiteley's will be like with 6 Cents, and kind of got One Hyde Park, and you got Mandarin Oriental, like these kind of real brands that have ultra value, like your name, but also adding it to a building, so you know that you've got longevity there. Like you're not. Well, that investment is.
You think you know you've got longevity there.
Well, on some occasions, yeah, we'll talk.
They're doing a great job if you feel that you will.
Well, let's talk about
what you're thinking. The
So
DD building.
Yeah, exactly right. Well, were you talking
Is
about?
that something you'd ever want to do? Actually, a full apartment block, like with your backing and everything.
The DD.
I think that's where the world is going.
Yeah.
I'll come into that in a second. You're talking about luxury branded residences.
Yes.
And I spoke on a panel about luxury branded residences. There was Four Seasons, the Kerzner Group. And it was very interesting to hear their opinion. What we know for a fact is that people want to live in branded residences. They feel comforted by the service and they're prepared to pay for it. And they feel that it's going to be better than...
Trusted brand.
Yeah, a trusted brand. Yeah. And now everyone's going after it. So... Jacob the jeweler has got building in Dubai. There's a Bugatti building in Dubai. There's a Mercedes building in Miami. Right, there's Porsche buildings, and everyone's creating value out of these brands. It's going to keep going. We're going to see which brands succeed in longevity.
I was going to say, because if everybody's doing it, surely...
Well, not everyone's going to be successful all the time. That's just not how the world works.
There's going to be a crash in some element.
There'll be a correction.
A correction, sorry.
Sometimes what happens is this. You get a property developer. The property developer wants to increase the value. They go to a brand. They say, hey, brand, do you want to be involved with this property development? The brand goes, well, how much are you going to pay us? And we'll pay you X. And the brand says, okay, great. Yeah, that's enticing enough. How do we know that you're going to build it well enough? They say, well, these are the specifications of what we're going to build to. They say, great. They bring the brand in. The brand's in there for 5 years. Mm-hmm. Okay, so it becomes a branded residence for 5 years. They build,
or run by like someone like Harrods, but sometimes
whoever it may
doesn't continue.
So then what happens in 5 years' time? Then what happens?
Well, that was just about to be my question. Then what happens then? How does that work?
So now it's all about service, longevity. How good is the service in that building? Because that's really what you're buying into. How good are the finishes and the specifications and the build quality? And then you break down into which apartment do you want in that building. And most people say, well, I don't really care. Like, I just want it to face the right way or be on the right floor. Yeah. But that's not the attitude you should have. You should be much more scientific about what you should buy, how you should buy it. Why would you buy in that building? Is there going to be any other additional developments nearby? Is it going to block your view? Will the sun be impacted?
Yeah.
You know,
do you see this quite a lot now, actually? Because you know when they say back in the olden days, things were built better. They were built stronger. Let's say bricks were built to last longer. And then in this day and age, do you see it a lot now that actually people, I don't want to say cut corners, but you can see something that's not going to last. Are you aware of that?
Yeah, you can see build quality super easy. I can walk into a room and I'll know how much they spent on the development.
So what building in London right now has done it really well? Like you can see that they've done it good. That's going to last.
There's a building at 1 Grosvenor Square. It was built by Loader, which is an Indian developer. People are unsure about the specification and whether or not they were able to build at this high level of the market, in the super prime market, and they've done an exceptional job.
Yeah.
Exceptional job. They really have.
Going to be online looking at that later on.
Yeah.
They're the
See if you can find out any information about it.
They've got the duplex with the 2-car garage, haven't they? They go in the side.
That's another building nearby. We've got that for sale.
That's the sick one.
Yeah. James Bond, it's called 007.
Really
It's
cool,
called 007. It's really cool.
How was it selling the most expensive property in London?
How was it?
Yeah.
It was hard.
For you?
It was hard.
Did it feel good though? Was it good?
People got this is probably not the answer you want to hear. It was probably one of the saddest days of my life.
Oh.
Yeah, you don't expect that. When you do something like that took 3 years.
Yeah.
It's more than the transaction. I felt at the time I was driving in my car, and I lost the deal, and I felt very deflated. But I felt okay about it because I was like, I have to get used to this. You have to be very durable. You know, things come and go. Deals up, deals down. It's going, it's happening, it's not happening. Changing their mind, buying something else. Like you're all over the place. But I did have a moment in the car to go, what does this actually mean? I don't have a family. I don't have anyone to share this with, even if it went well. Do people really care where I work, that I'm about to achieve this? And is it going to have a meaningful impact on my life?
Yeah.
And it didn't. It didn't. Ironically, when
It's so unique that you actually say that, because from an outside perspective...
Oh, you think it's like champagne bottles in the
Wow.
club, happy days.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
literally.
it's not, no, it's my experience was nothing like that. In fact, it was heartwarming because when we did do the deal, ironically, I was with my parents. Okay. I'd literally just got off the flight with my parents, and we got home and we cheers, like a shot of whiskey, and I don't really drink, but my dad does, and it was nice, and my mum likes a tipple, and we had that moment, and they were very proud of their son, and it was lovely. But soon you forget about that, and your life continues. And this is one lesson that I've learned, and something that I really want to share with people that watch this, but this is for all of us. In our heads, we see success looks a certain way. And if we have 1 million subscribers on YouTube, that's amazing, or you have a big house, or you have a great car, or whatever it may be. And you have this moment that you hang on to, that you're leading to. And this is a goal. It's a goal, and you're chasing that goal, and you're sacrificing, you're doing it every day. And I realized that that's not the life that I want to lead. And I realized that a number of years ago. So I'm not a goal-orientated individual. I believe in something that I stumbled across. I didn't know. It's called Ikigai. Okay, it's in a Japanese way of living. And I've lived this way my whole life, ironically.
Elaborate slightly.
So I believe in incremental increases in what you do every day.
Yeah.
Incremental improvements.
Small
what you do every
and
day.
steady
Small
over a
every
long
day.
period of time.
And they compound. So I don't have a goal. I don't set goals for anyone in the business. Some people come here, they say, I think if I come here, I'm going to make £500,000 a year. And I said, why? And like, well, I think I could. I said, well, why not 1 million?
Yeah.
Why not 2 million? Or alternatively, focus on being great at what you do, failing less, doing better, and you will make whatever you are capable of making.
Yeah.
And that's how I live my life.
You're not actually putting a restriction on it then. Even if you say some wild thing, that could become a restriction because you're saying, oh, I've reached this now, I'm satisfied.
Or alternatively, bang on the money, or alternatively, you set a goal for yourself and you don't achieve it. And in today's world, where younger people are fragile, because they've got so much coming at them, they're inevitably going to be more fragile. Right? They're still great. They have more opportunity and they know it. So every failure feels massive when it isn't. But if you don't achieve your goal as a young person, it can kill people. They could be so devastated by not achieving this made up goal because someone else had suggested that that'd be a great goal, or someone has achieved something, that you set that benchmark and you do everything to get there. If you don't get there, you're out. And for 3 months or 3 weeks, you're a leaf in the wind. No, I'm serious. I've seen it.
Yeah.
I've seen it. As opposed to saying, I'm just going to be great at doing this.
Yeah. That's what you've come back. Everything you've said today is about creating value, focusing on the task at hand in the moment and giving that everything. And when you do create that, you give it the best quality. It's going to have the best chance at succeeding, whatever that is. If you're selling something, if you're selling yourself, whatever that moment is, it's just going to succeed.
Anything. I saw there was something on Instagram on my For You page or whatever you call it, and there was a guy who was streaming and he was getting to his 5 millionth person that he was streaming to, and he was like, for years I had one person watching my streams, which was my dad. One person for years. And it meant that he'd been doing something for years. And what's really tricky is that you have some people out there that are promising the world to people in a way that 1% will achieve it, or 0.000 0.0001% will
Yeah.
achieve it. And I feel that we need to sort of restructure what success looks like and how to achieve it.
Oh, definitely.
That's what I think, because people see my success and go, wow, this is amazing, this guy's flying all over the world, buying the most expensive real estate.
I think it's happened overnight.
Yeah, and they think that it's happened overnight. Meanwhile, I've been creating content for 8 years, and I work harder than most people I know.
You've been working on this career since the age of 17.
And I've worked from 8 a.m. till 6 o'clock during weekdays for 15 years or 10 years, and Saturdays. And I used to stress about going to play football on a Saturday afternoon to take an hour off to get to the game in time. Like, that definitely gave me grey hairs. Yeah. All these things, it took decades.
Yeah.
People don't want to hear that. Can you make success more faster now? 100% you can, because you can create content.
And there's more accessibility to everything.
Great content.
But more accessibility means more things to choose from, which means people have to make a decision, which also means people are scared to make a decision. Therefore, in the long run, people don't actually just improve in their one thing. They just get confused, and it's a leaf blowing in the wind again.
Correct.
Yeah.
The quality does not hit the mark, because the only way to get perfection and quality at that highest level is to learn from your mistakes and go. As much as you can still learn a course and educate yourself, it's real world. You've got to get out there and do it.
And also learn from others.
Yeah.
Learn from other people's mistakes. Making mistakes yourself is damaging.
Yeah.
Watching other people make mistakes and learning from them is extremely valuable. But
Yeah.
if you just live in your own zone and you're not paying attention to other stuff, people go, oh yeah, like, that person's successful. I'm not interested in watching them. It makes me feel bad because their success makes me feel bad. I'm like, I want to watch that person. I want to see exactly what they're doing.
100%.
I want to know everything, the reasons why, how, what, when.
YouTube was one of the best tools for when we danced, because I was always like, okay, I can't be in China one day and LA the next day and New York the next day. But what I can do, I can sit on YouTube and be like, okay, cool. This guy's just done this really amazing thing in China. Great. This guy's done something amazing in LA. And I was always like, well, let's get in the studio. Let's go downstairs
and practice it.
And do it.
Yeah.
Why not? And then sometimes it hits, sometimes it misses, but it's the best way to adapt and move quicker, because you're being like, okay, that's a cool timing. That's cool. And that was the one thing to our success in dancing was like, well, just learn from that education coming in. Don't be the person that just likes the comment or something. I'm like, no, do it. Like, try it. And that's the best feeling ever.
100%.
You've got to have that open mind, though, in the first place, to be able to learn from other people and not be so closed off that, like you said, I know everything, this and that.
We have a bit of a,
we
have here in the UK, we have a bit of a problem with that.
Mentality.
We're very, very cynical people here in the UK.
Why do you think? Just
it's been drummed into us since we were kids.
If you see somebody in a nice car, a lot of people are like, oh, why? Oh, they look down upon the person. It's not like, oh, that's a cool car. What do you do? Like,
how did you achieve it?
I appreciate that. Like, talk to me. Like, and most of the time, the person in the nice car is willing to talk to you. They're gonna be pretty cool guys most of the times, and they've really got an interesting story. But nobody ever wants to kind of break down that barrier.
I think we need to do a better job.
Yeah.
We, the people who have maybe achieved levels of success or have a prominent voice, we need to do a better job. You know,
okay.
Education.
On a wider picture, we're speaking so much. I've got so much value from this conversation already.
Yeah, it's been a really cool chat.
I forgot I was recording a podcast at one point then. Where do you see yourself going? I want to talk about you are building, I'm going to say it wrong. So
the DD building.
the DD build on one side, but the ADVSR.AI.
What is that?
What is it? I think I understand it, but what is it? Because if it is what I understand in my head, you are really putting yourself
capturing the market
everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So my view is this. Information is not really that valuable because most people have got access to the information. So our information is our pictures and floor plans.
Yeah.
Our clients want to sell the property, and if they do and they want to advertise it, we want to give it to as many people as possible for them to put it in front of their customers.
Yeah.
We know the customers are online.
Mm-hmm.
And we know that there are other people that have access to other groups of people, and we want them to get the information of our client's property to them.
Yeah.
Okay? So ADVSR is an abbreviation of two words, advisor and advertiser. That's the abbreviation.
Yeah,
simple.
So essentially, this is like an affiliate platform for people to advertise real estate to all their following. And if they're successful in introducing a buyer, we will pay them for advertising, which can be very significant.
Yeah.
And that's it.
What percentage? How many people do we need to know?
Let me put it this way: if you want to get that car you wanted to get, that flashy car, you'd be able to you'd be able to do it. In most instances, there's fees available between 0.5% to 3% on a £2 million property. 3% is £60,000.
Yeah. So I'm just doing a quick little.
It's pretty cool.
You could be very successful. So we think that if you can sell makeup online,
and this is your company, you are building and investing your time, resources, energy into this.
You're basically just given a hub for luxury, great places for everybody in the world in that industry that can afford that to be able to come to, really.
And advertise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've just
so
got that
more
hub.
people come and take the digital assets if you've got consent. And if you're part of the platform, you can take those digital assets once you've got consent, and you can put them out over your social channels or via WhatsApp to the groups of people that you've got access to. And if one of them wants to buy a piece of real estate, then you'll get paid for your access through marketing.
Simple.
Clarity is so clear, so precise. And what is really fantastic is the opportunity that you could literally be doing hundreds, thousands of deals a day, and you've just built the network.
Yeah, I mean, I never thought
You're
about it that
smiling
way.
ear to ear.
No, I'll tell you the way I looked at it is that previously, if you wanted to market a property, you put it in the window of an office and you put it in newspapers.
Yes.
Now people are online. Very few people walk into offices to buy real estate. So the amount of windows you've got is less relevant because you're here, and the attention is in the phone. So it's following you guys, okay, or listening to you guys. And therefore, with that following, you're going to have groups of people that might want to buy real estate. And so if there's an opportunity for you to sell your financial app, you also might say, because you've built trust equity with people, you also might say, by the way, this property here, picture, link to the property. This property here is a property that I would love to buy. I can't afford it right now, but someone who follows me might be able to. And therefore, click on the link. And if you like it, let's get going. It's like, that's all it is. And so what we're enabling is the seller who's happy to market the property, get many more eyeballs around the world to buy the real estate. That's all we're doing.
Is it a bit scary?
Create an account, AJ.
100% you guys
I
should.
bloody well am. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna lie.
100% you should.
Like, do you kind of feel like taking it from such a boutique moment of being like, okay, I'm going to sell something so personal, to open the door to like getting even more eyeballs on it, and maybe more people having the opportunity to sell it is scarier for you or exciting? What's that feeling for you?
If we've got the client's consent to market the property, what usually happens in the US, for instance, people say, I want as many eyeballs on my property.
Yes. Yeah.
So what people will say is, Daniel Daggers, because you've got 100,000 followers over multiple channels, will you come into the property and do a video? They'd be like, yeah, sure, but I'll hit 100,000 people or 200,000 people, whatever it may be. But we also have a team of people here that have 1 million followers in total, and therefore you want a whole team doing it. But we know that agents around the world have access to buyers who may want to buy your property. So we want to get your property to those people too. It's like super simple.
Let's say I come and I buy one of the properties, and there's videos and pictures and everything all over the place. I want them removed when I buy the property. Is that like an option that can be added in?
So on the link, what happens, we're talking about on and off market.
Yes. Yeah.
On market is when the property is publicly available and there is a digital footprint of the property being available. If you put your property on Rightmove, Zoopla, and on the market, people will be able to research that property in a year's time or 2 years' time, and they will know that that property has been available with this agent, and then there was a price reduction, and then this agent, and then there's a price reduction. And a lot of people don't want that. Yeah. So that's why they don't go onto these public domains. Okay? There was then the next step, which would be off market, which is you give it to me, and if I meet a buyer or a client, I'll send it to them in WhatsApp or via email. And so now it's not in the public domain. Yeah. It's in this sort of, under the radar market. Yeah. Okay. And only the people that we want to get the property to will get it.
People that are being vetted, that have proof of funds.
Correct. All that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But what happens is they take a look at that property and then they can send it to other people. Now, if I'm sending a property to somebody who I've vetted, I don't really mind them sending it to other people because in theory, they'll know other people that will spend that sum of money. So it's just network effect. Now with social media, there's 3 tiers and social media sits in the middle, and I'll explain why. And I've done a video about this that you can share if you want to. But what happens is if I post pictures online of the property on my Instagram or my LinkedIn, it is there, but you cannot Google research it.
Yeah.
So now I'm making hundreds of thousands of people aware, of that property being available. I might not put an address, I might not put a price. You're just aware that that property is available through me. And so other agents around the world, and lawyers and accountants and bank managers and influencers might go, hey, Jesse, did you see that property that he posted? You might be interested in that. They will then speak to me and then they'll get more information if I qualify them. Super simple.
Yeah.
That's how our world works now. And so there's 3 tiers to the market. You just need to make sure that whoever you appoint from an agent perspective or advisor, we call people advisors that do what we do, that they understand what we call is the route to market. You either do this, or you do this, or you do this, or you do all of them, but in a strategy.
Yeah.
And that's it. And by the way,
easy it sounds.
It sounds very easy,
Because
but
there's a
figuring it
clarity
out
because you've created it.
Yeah, but figuring out has been there's a lot of brain power that goes into it.
It's taken
Getting
years.
consent to do this, and all the technology behind it. But we know it works because we don't do stuff without knowing. We practice, and we learn, and so we know that it works. I mean, I've sold properties on FaceTime 12 years ago. People are starting to do it now. I'm like, no, I was doing this many, many years ago because I know it works. And so we do that. And we do other stuff. We use social channels. That's how we built the 6th most influential real estate brand in the UK in 4 years at marketing and selling homes over £5 million. Everybody else in that top 6 is at least 30 years old, if not 150 years old.
That's unbelievable. That's fantastic. That's very...
It's credit to the team.
Yeah.
And their hard work and my hard work. I'm going to say it too. I work hard too.
Just before we wrap up, there's one question. We spoke about, obviously, the value, the investment within London regarding sheer supply and demand and sheer space, to be honest, to build these days. Do you make a real effort to really see the future? Okay, there's a little bit of land there. I know that looks a bit derelict. The handful of 5-10 developers that are maybe going to be in the position where they could purchase that and put a valuable building there. Do you make them relationships with them developers early on, pursuing like something's going to go there in 10 years? Like, I want to be the guy that's controlling that.
What happens is that I haven't been in a position to do development deals that often. I'm not known as that investment guy. I'm known as the guy when you want some help buying or selling something that's very expensive, speak to me. Anywhere in the world. Almost, right? In these super hubs. If people ask me where to invest, I can give them a clue as to where I would invest my money because I can see what's happening culturally on the street with people. I'm going to places, I'm speaking to people of influence, like influencers or people in art or people in music. Where do they want to be? Often money follows those people.
The new hotspots.
All that sort of stuff. Exactly. So you're ahead of the curve. From an investment perspective, I think you're going to see fractional ownership come into play, which is where you guys might want to start thinking about getting your footing right. The days of buying real estate have become so expensive for ordinary folk to pay the stamp duty and so on and so on.
It's mental.
The entry to own real estate and get a return is very tricky. But what is happening now is we're going to see asset micro investment. So we're going to take a block, a building, and there's going to be 10 apartments. In those 10 apartments, you dice them up, so 10 people can own 10% of one of the apartments, and it's all held on the blockchain. When that property is rented, it will kick off a return, which will be, let's say, 6-7%. It's very difficult for most people to get 6 or 7% on their money. In the bank, you're getting 1. Okay? So you can buy into it at a very reasonable cost. You can sell it at a reasonable cost, but you can get a return in the meantime. That is what will happen.
And does it excite you then from the announcement of the day? This is probably a conversation for another time, but BlackRock announced that they're going to release a full fund on the Ethereum blockchain. So creating a fund on the blockchain. So fundamentally exactly what you would be doing here, but rather than it being the fund itself, you'd be the property itself and divided up.
Right. So was it BlackRock you said?
BlackRock, yeah.
BlackRock have a brand. The brand says to people, we know what we're doing.
Yeah.
So if you invest in any of our buildings, you're going to be all right. I think that that brand will change and it will become people. I think that I will go out with my mobile phone and I'll go, hey guys, I'm buying into this building. Invest with me and click here.
Yeah.
Because I'm accountable to the people who invest with me. And I'm a person. Can't hide behind the company
100%.
name.
And it's very American in the way that's already presumed. And like in America, it's like okay, we want an apartment block. At the end of the day, the conversation is, we want your money.
Yeah.
Buy it with us.
But I'm talking about trust equity now. Do you trust Blackstone? If it doesn't work, it doesn't matter. Or do you trust Daniel Daggers?
Yeah.
Where it does matter.
Yeah.
And if I'm going to put my own money in this, I think this is a safe investment or a good investment. That's where I think it will get to. So I may be able to raise hundreds of millions of dollars one day from my social media accounts to say, hey guys, I want to buy this building. I know I'm going to get a 15% return. If you want to invest in me, double click now. And all of a sudden, I raise $100 million, in a secure account, full transparency on the blockchain.
Would you have like a limit of how much somebody could buy, or a small?
I don't know. I hope not.
Yeah.
I hope not, because everything I've done is try to create more access, more availability, more possibility for more people. But I don't know. It's still.
It's a great idea. It's very cool.
So I think it's a good idea. Well, I know it's going that way.
Yeah.
I don't think people have thought about the advertising and marketing of it.
Yeah, that's become an afterthought rather than a...
Yeah, people don't realize, how do you speak to the customer base? If everybody is the customer around the world, because everyone's got £10 in their pocket that they can invest now, how are you going to get the message to those investors?
Well, I think the bank's an exact example. Like NatWest closing down, all fundamentally it feels like everywhere, but suddenly paying small influencers, micro influencers to be like, okay, here, like.
But who trusts the micro influencers now? Like Remy here, she's got 250,000 followers. She's a young black girl who's come from a very normal background.
Yep.
She's very articulate. She's smart. She's been an advisor now for 3 years. She's successful. She's a trusted source of information.
Yep.
That's interesting. It's interesting for her. She needs to build her credibility, her trust equity, all that sort of stuff, so that she could put herself in a position to help advise other people in their investment strategy. And I think that is amazing.
It's fantastic.
We're trying.
Honestly, no, like every single point that we spoke about today, the value, the quality, it's longevity. And everything you've talked about, it's never been, there's a short route or anything. It's like everything that working now, is going to work in the future, because
and don't be closed-minded.
We
so
hope
good.
we do everything
Personal
we can.
connections.
Everything we can. I've got a young guy who's ex-head of digital for Knight Frank and Countrywide, all these massive firms, and we built ADVSR. And I said to Elliot, listen, it's going to be difficult for a number of years because we're building here. We're building ahead of ourselves.
Yeah.
Often when you build ahead of yourselves, people won't understand it. There's loads of friction. Why are you doing it? Why are you posting on YouTube? Right? Gradually, what you hope is if you get it right with foresight, and the world does go that way, what happens is the world meets you.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, you're there. Oh, you're a professional dancer and you're on YouTube. Oh, yeah, we would love your exposure. Thank you so much. And
like you get invited to these fantastic events and awards. So where were you at the OWO the other night, speaking about the global hospitality sort of side? Like you being a trusted source of income, they want your value.
Yes. They want the attention that I will deliver to that venue, to the OWO, which is an amazing building, and to the event and the people that share this stage with me, that I'm fortunate enough to share this stage with. I'm just some council estate kid. But don't forget that.
Yeah.
Don't forget that.
That's what.
For 11 years. But people who know me as the kid who came from a family, you know, if you'd known me from like 13, 14, 15, when life got a bit easier for us, then I'm just like a normal kid and I was privileged.
But I'd say
I was privileged because I had great parents.
You connect to that value of people, because a lot of the times, like what you'll see sort of ultra net worth, like the different generations that have worked hard, that usually the older generation has come from nothing. They've done very well. They've created a business. They've sold it off, or they've kept it, or lots of land, wherever it may be. And the next generation maybe hasn't worked as hard, but are still willing to work hard. like they're the ones that connect and hopefully pass that down.
If you do research on generational change of wealth, it's very interesting to see what happens.
It's a bit scary.
Yeah, it's
Like
a bit.
third generation,
depending on which
90%
one
have lost it,
generation
isn't
you
it?
are in.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
30%.
And we're going to see massive change, shift in wealth, and who's got the wealth now? Young people are going to have massive shift in wealth, and who they trust to help them secure that wealth, invest it, whatever it may be. Super important. Everyone's chasing after that opportunity now.
Yeah.
All the banks, all the investors, they're all chasing after the opportunity of young people and what they're going to be bringing and their desires. All their marketing and everything now is becoming more contemporary because you're going to have this massive shift in wealth to young people. So that's all going to change.
Yeah.
Because young people want different things to what their parents wanted and their great-grandparents and so on and so on.
That's very true in this
Listen,
day and age.
like-
That really is.
Yeah, of course it is.
This conversation, so I could talk all day. I know we're
I
gonna
was gonna say,
we're
this
gonna
is
have to
a
do
good podcast,
another
this.
podcast in a year's
Yeah.
time.
Had a great
talking
chat
about
with
Sure.
you.
Love you guys.
When you get a DD building. I can't wait. I'm coming to it. I'll buy a place.
Amen. Amen.
Honestly, no. Thank you so much for your time. I know how valuable you are and busy, and we've made it. We've made it happen. We've got there in the end.
Thank
did
you.
get there in the
Yeah.
Please, can you give a hand off to where people can find you? Obviously on social media, you're very prevalent there.
Yeah, so you can find me. My accounts are Daniel_Daggers, and you can find me on Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter,
And it's DDRE and
Netflix.
yes,
Netflix.
yes.
Oh yeah, and the business is DDRE Global.
Yes.
So you can find us, and advsr.ai. Oh my god, I can keep going.
I was gonna say, all right,
All
you
these
can finish
acronyms,
then.
just keep going.
Yeah.
But no, honestly, thank you so much. I've loved it. I'm doing a little stretch as I always do at the end of the podcast. I've just realised
Our
Mitch is looking
cameraman.
at me.
Mitch,
I
he's-
sit there for an hour still, and then suddenly I do a little like back breaking
at
Yeah,
the
yeah,
end of
yeah,
it, he
yeah.
says, I know exactly when you're going to end it because you do a stretch every time.
I love that.
And no, I'm aware of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, thank you very much. Plus, I want to try sell property now.
Yeah. Well, you do. Yeah, this is for off-camera conversation now. Yeah.
We'll keep that private.
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, fine.
No, thank you very much,
No,
guys, for
thank you.
listening. If you liked it, please like, share, subscribe, tell your friends, tell everybody. And thank you so much, Daniel, for coming on and chatting with us.
Absolute
it's been awesome.
pleasure. Love what you guys are doing.
Oh, thank you. And love what you're doing as well.
Thanks.
You're
Feel
at the
pumped.
forefront.
I love these conversations.
Yeah. Let's have a good day now. Thanks for listening to the podcast. That was Freedom Impact Trust. We hope you've enjoyed it. We've loved chatting once again. Please leave a comment below because it really helps the algorithm and helps get the podcast out there. And also, let us know if there's any financial questions which you want answering, and we can answer them in the pod next week. Like I said, share, like, comment, subscribe, and let everybody know about the podcast.
And thank you to our sponsors, Fin, the financial investment app, where you can invest from as little as £50 a month.
£50?
Yes, £50, Kurs.
Well, wow, it's an absolute bargain. And don't forget, it's through 3 different portfolios. So choose the one that you like and get investing.
Have a great day.
See you later, guys.